Well, welcome to this virtual user group presentation on Partner PDF Manager. Today, myself, Peter, and Liam will be talking about our journey and use of the PDF Manager. My firm has used it for quite some time to generate PDF documents as a part of our Paperlike journey. Our commercial and private client teams have heavily used it to reduce the postage costs and to send out documents quicker, whilst maintaining that branded look that a piece of letterhead paper would traditionally generate. The journey's been difficult. It's involved converting a lot of documents and a lot of hearts and minds that sending via email is a good method of communication, and that clients are receptive to it. And in the current environment under the lockdown, it really becomes an incredibly necessary step to do. We just physically can't get post out. And the rate of adoption has rapidly increased within my firm. And the clients have really appreciated it. So Liam, I don't know what the experience is in your firm.
We have everything set up to be able to sign, and it is rolled out across the board. In fact, we've gone as far as turning off the print macros, so that when you complete a step, you have to actually jump through hoops to be able to physically print a document. Every step is configured. Every step is configured to have a stationery if it applies and an email template.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's quite a revolution. You wouldn't have been able to do that probably, I don't know, a month ago.
Not at all, no.
Fantastic. Would you be able to just take us through the steps of how the PDF Manager wizard works?
I can share my screen. So the process of PDF Manager wizard can be done when the steps already exist in your case history. So you can take any letter that exists already and process it through the wizard, and that will sign the document and put your letterhead branding on top. You can configure a step to take some of this process away from the user and do most of it automatically. So you can tick this box here on the step setup to show the dialog to ask for print, to do nothing after process. So that will give them the choice to physically print and or create the PDF and email it. And we configured every single step to have a standard stationery and email step. Now we have two brands, so there's two stationaries configured, and there are thus two email templates because these are different house style fonts. So you can customize this and choose whichever brands that you want based on the template or the department. If it's a global document that's shared across, this is not going to work too well for you. But what we've done is created copies of steps and then just tweaked them to each brand. So and then made them only visible with the restrictions on which departments can see a step. If this step is configured to automatically prompt you at the end, I'm just going to skip through the door. And then we have the letter. Now this template was coded to have the signature macro code embedded in the document, so you can see that it's going to be signed by the Fiona LBX, which is me. But you hide that for physical prints by changing the font to white. So that says letter. And if we process this step, and we can choose here, because I've ticked that box in the step setup, it's going to ask us what we want to do. So if I add to case, it will just generate the PDF. But if I choose email, it will generate the PDF and then call the email step and attach this PDF to the email for you automatically. So I've got my email to my client and the PDF has been attached. It's signed by me and it's put the branding on top. That's pretty much it for the step side of things. Now, if this was any other Word document that you happen to have on your Matter and you wanted to generate a PDF from it, you can right click on it, PDF Manager Wizard, and then you get the wizard. This screen is useful because you can here select multiple documents and then you can amalgamate them into one big PDF, which is a common request we get where you have a trial bundle that you're trying to create. You've got all your separate documents in an agenda, you highlight them all, and you want to create one big PDF for emailing out. You can do that through here. In fact, we can probably demonstrate that by selecting a few documents. And you can go as far as, say, change the order to say, I want that one to be the first document in the bundle and that to be the second. When you amalgamate, you can also password protect it. So if you're not using Mimecast Large File Send or any other file sharing service, but you want to password protect the attachment so it's a little bit more secure than just a regular attachment, then you can create that password here. As you go through, you can say where the resulting PDF is going to be and on which matter, so it doesn't have to be this matter, you can change it, but I'm going to fire it into the emails agenda. I've just happened to have ticked that as my default PDF Manager agenda. And we're going to do an email at the end of it. And if you were using Adobe Sign, you could tick this send for signature and go through that process, but we're not using Adobe Sign, and so we're not going to be able to demonstrate that here, but it does exist. You can zip the resulting PDF as well, so try and make it a little bit smaller, and that's where you specify the name of the zip. So this could be trial bundle if you wanted it to. The email address you can pick from your contacts. It's fired it up on my other screen there, so I've picked that. And then you can choose which email template you want to use to send this PDF with. And here you can apply some stationery. So if the step had its own stationery, I believe it should have it here set for you, but none of these use a stationery, none of these are letters, but I can override this and say this is going to use the Keebles branding header, and this one's going to use the PM Legal branding header. And when we go next and process, it's now going to generate one big PDF of these separate documents, and again go through the process of emailing it. And there's the zip version. And we have a PDF. This is just a test document, but you can see on that attendance note, it's put on the attendance note, it's put the Keebles branding from the stationery that I selected on top of it. For any other advanced PDF manager related functionality, I'll refer you to the training manuals on Tickets client portal.
That's great. Thanks, Liam. To get the stationery in, it does your print, your standard letterheads should be able to provide you with a PDF. That's certainly the way that we've done it. So that there is absolutely no difference between your printed letterhead and the PDF version.
Yes, the
I found
stationery
that zipping the PDF file. Sorry, carry on,
go
Liam.
ahead. No, sorry, I interrupted you.
Okay. I found that zipping the file actually confuses people at the other end and doesn't apply all that much compression to modern PDFs, as they're already pretty good at being compressed. I don't know if that if you have that experience as well, Liam.
Yes, I don't think it compresses it any further, but if you were to say not choose the amalgamate option, it will create one large attachment of multiple PDFs
Great.
rather than trying to compress already compressed PDFs.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's a good use case for that. And your experience with getting your letterhead from your stationers?
Oh well,
the
Word
way you did
document,
it, or did you create your own?
Yeah, so our stationery is the Word document we gave the stationery printers. So it should be
Sure.
like for like. If you held up a printout of one of these PDFs to a letterhead pre-printed paper, it should line up pixel perfect.
Excellent. And getting the signatures, the Fiona signatures scanned in, have you got any special tips and tweaks for that?
I certainly do. If I share my screen again. So for gathering signatures from Fairness, I created a printable document with boundary lines for a bit like when you have to sign for your driving license. And so the idea here is that that box that they would sign in is the size between the yours sincerely and the Fairness name in the letter. And we figured out that on our particular scanners that 300 DPI scanned as a TIFF and then crop the image around the signature to 765 pixels by 210 height fits bang perfect in there when it's printed, and 300 DPI seems to be an optimal pixel density for removing the blurriness or the jagged edges of scanning the signature in. It also helps to cut the white background out and have it as a transparent PNG. I don't know if Peter, if you have issues with scanning yours in, if that's something you have figured out as well.
Yeah, we've done ours in a very sort of similar way. We've definitely found that using a pen helps as well. Sort of a skinny biro doesn't scan in particularly well, and we've make the background transparent.
Yes, biros don't tend to translate very well because they leave gaps in the middle of the strokes, don't they? So a nice inky pen seems to give you a nice looking PDF signature that holds up scrutiny, I would say, even if you zoom in a little bit.
Absolutely. So the setup of the PDF Wizard there is a little bit of very, very good guiding you through that, and it is as simple as right-clicking. Obviously, Liam's put a lot of hard work into auto-coding some of these things, but running with the PDF Manager Wizard, it can just be done through the manual method equally as well.
Yes.
And provides you with electronic communication with your clients straight away. You can then sign or the signed, but it is a nice complementary product to what's already in Partner.
I would like to add as well, Peter, that not every letter that may be generated is going to be signed by the lead fee earner. There is, in recent versions of Partner for Windows, the new additional fee earners standard merge codes. So if you have more than one person working on a matter, for example, in our corporate department, we have a lead fee earner, but they have other fee earners working on the same matter doing different jobs of the same transaction, and they want letters to be signed by them. Now, traditionally, people have just amended the yours footer and then it's been wet signed, but with the additional fee earners syntax, you will be able to prompt at the start of the template merge which fee earner will be signing that document, and then their signature will be added into the bottom. I haven't got a demonstration of that because we're still testing it in our dev version of Partner for Windows, but it's looking promising. That would alleviate the need for the assistants to amend the signatures by hand manually.
Thank you, and keep safe. This very brief overview just about wraps up